Hi, good afternoon. It's Paul. I thought I would do maybe a Friday roundup of the enterprise architecture videos that I've done so far. Actually started last Friday, believe it or not. That's pretty cool. Managed to make it for a week. So I thought what I'd maybe just do is just go back over the last 5 videos. I'll maybe do this every week, see how it go. And we'll do Monday to Thursday, I'll do some videos, and then Friday I'll do a roundup. So what have we covered so far? So the interesting bit for me was to explain the why, the how and the what. I guess it's people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And I guess that was a really good message I liked. So it gives you a view of who the person is that's actually doing the work for you, but also what basically makes them motivated to want to do that role. So that was the why, the how, the what. We covered taxonomies. So that was the domain classifications. Interested in showing that it's like buckets and like life cycles. Not as complex as roadmaps, but still giving a view across the business data, applications and technology domains. That's really where enterprise architecture's scope. We don't really cover costs in some ways, but we do end up discussing costs at various gating processes, because obviously that's a real life scenario. But in theory, we don't actually look at costs. Job titles, so it was interesting covering business data, applications and technology domains for the job titles. Some things like business architects, data architects, application architects and technology architects. But the interesting thing there is those can expand out. So you might have business process, you might have service, you might have data architects that deal with customer data. So they might be transactional data architects, they might be data warehouse architects interested in BI, management information, and technology architects. Obviously can break down into things like capacity management, licensing, security, auditing, logging, and some of those things split over applications as well. So application architects can be interested in the roadmaps as well, but they can also be interested in keeping things in that live, deprecated and future scope. So Agile versus Waterfall was another one of the videos I covered. So again, I just love the term problem known, solution known versus problem known, solution unknown. To me, that's a great waterfall and agile conundrum. But I think it really gets people thinking about the agile world, so customer journeys, customer mapping, whereas in the waterfall world we have everything all up front and a linear approach to it. So it's quite different. We obviously go through alpha, beta, live and discovery at the beginning, and those were the kind of areas I covered. But I also covered something called Bimodal, which is the 2 modes of agile versus enterprise governance. It's not just aligned to governance, but I think it's a good one to talk about how do you bring capabilities and products to the estate. And it's definitely a way of bringing those 2 delivery methods in line with each other. And the other thing I covered was the learnings that I've seen through doing costing analysis of agile development. One of the challenges is your DevOps and your developers and your product owners. They will become very ingrained in the program. So how do you get them back out into the enterprise, because you've probably got lots of other projects ongoing, unless you're a startup and that's your only product. So that was one of the interesting things. So maybe what I'll do in one of the future videos is I'll cover what does those teams look like, because they're quite different now between Waterfall and Agile from teams perspective. So what else was there? Well, there was a then and a now of what digital transformation architecture looked like. I talked about it in a monolithic old layer type approach. You would have presentation, application, security layers, data layers, messaging layers. And I also talked about microservices where you have APIs, you have third-party integration, you have lots of different channels. I'll come to that in a sec. So that was basically a different, much more condensed, flatter style architecture, not layers, but more silos of actual capabilities sitting alongside each other. So what else did I talk about in that and the then and the now? So I talked about multiple channels and omnichannels, and modern approach is to take someone in one channel and then utilise them across the other capabilities that you have for the business capabilities. So you might bring them in telephony and you might move them to SMS or chatbot, or you might bring them in the chatbot and then move them to voice. So that was one thing. I also talked about APIs, consuming other people's APIs, and also offering out your business to build APIs so that you can actually utilise some of the products that you've got, but not as a direct product. Things like TripAdvisor could use, or Google would be a good example, to let people use their ratings and review system rather than a company building a ratings and a review system. If the companies all joined and they joined up as a Google business, they could use those ratings and reviews. So multi-channel was the old style model, which is literally you come in one channel, you stay on that channel, and there's a cost to that. So talked about how digital was more cheaper, 10 pence versus the sort of face-to-face model being as dear as £15 a transaction. So that was just kind of some of the areas that I covered. If you want to delve into any of these areas, I'm more than happy to cover them. Ask me questions. If you want any consultancy on them, I'm happy to look at them free of charge. Next week, what am I hoping to do? Well, I'm actually hoping to have a guest speaker. I've reached out to a few people in my network so far. There's some people that are interested. One of the guys is a security architect, which I worked with before. A very experienced and knowledgeable guy. Hopefully we can do something on Zoom because we're all in lockdown. And so a couple of my topics next week are Agile startups, things like email marketing, segments, text messaging, some of the vendors that I see are good in this space, and also cool really thing called growth hacking. How do you get that hockey stick growth curve when you want to release a product? And how do you keep your customers happy, and how do you get them to be referring you? So a couple of things I'll try and talk about next week that are more in the agile startup space that I think enterprises should be more looking at coming forward. So that's me for this week. It's been good. I've enjoyed it. Hopefully you'll enjoy some of the videos. You can watch them over the weekend, or if you're looking at the videos next week, happy to take some comments, and hopefully I can do some more for you. Thanks very much. Have a great weekend. It's Paul saying goodbye.